With that, I think a good way to kick this off is, I think it's safe to say we're all going to be punched in the gut in some way at some point in time, whether we realize it or not. And if you haven't yet, it's okay, but it's inevitable. It's going to happen, whether it's a health crisis or a financial burden, losing a job, losing a loved one, having a breakup, going through a divorce. Like, shit gets messy sometimes, and that's just the reality. And so I think a good way to kick off is just, Kendall, like, you've shared a lot with me, and I know it'll be so valuable for the audience to share some of the things that you have gone through when the rug has been pulled away. Share whatever, as much or as little as you'd like, and then some of the things you did to kind of take one step forward.
Yeah. So I'm kind of going through a really interesting season right now. I'm somebody that's typically like very high achieving, high performing, like go, go, go all the time. I run my own business. I make my own money for myself. I'm single. So, single income household, all of the struggles and the burdens of what comes with that. And I'm kind of going through this, I'll call it a depressive episode. I've just experienced a pretty extreme amount of grief. There's no death, but pretty much, and I'll say an existential death is kind of being, rebirthed right now, or the kind of death and rebirth cycle. And I'm typically somebody that can keep pushing forward. I'm typically the person that, you just keep moving. Like you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, You do what you can, you push through, you do whatever you can. And I, over the last couple of months, noticed that my typical get up and go, like, wasn't going, essentially. Like, something was very wrong. And I had a depressive episode a couple of years ago that felt sort of similar, but not like this. This was deeper, this was darker. I set some boundaries with some people in my life where, that it needed to happen for me to be able to take care of myself. But the grief that basically started and created was devastating.
Yeah. Oof.
To the point where I had to get on an antidepressant. And it's been a huge adjustment for me. I'm not typically somebody that would maybe want to lean on medication, but I'm kind of viewing it as a tool in this season. And if you're somebody that, you're watching this right now and you're struggling, you're at home, I'm not sure what it looks like. For me, what started happening was I basically was like struggling to do basic things, like feeding myself, like, doing some work, like getting out of the house, keeping moving. It was like my body just like wasn't responding how it normally would. And it was really scary. I didn't have a lot of people. It was the holidays.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people were super busy too. Like, my normal support system wasn't there. And so I just kept like slipping into this deep depression. And, we always see, it doesn't always feel like, the Zoloft commercial where there's like a rain cloud over your head and it looks like that. And whether you're somebody that's going through it right now, or maybe somebody that is, like, I know this is true for a lot of my friends that I'm really close with. They're like, well, you don't look depressed. Like, you don't show those signs. First off, I'm good at hiding it because I don't want to make people uncomfortable. And I
just real quick right there, I feel the need to share. I don't mean to get you off track, but I think that's the first thought that came to my mind, and myself included. Like, I have become very good at just hiding things, masking things. I think as a society we have as well, especially what social media has done in terms of just like, surface level. Life's amazing.
Yeah.
But in reality, everyone in some way, shape, or form is fighting a battle, a demon that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And so, like, keep going. I'd love to hear kind of like how you address that.
Yeah.
And especially when you were sharing, it really hit, because I could relate from past experiences when you were like just struggling to get out of bed or to brush your teeth.
Yep.
Those some things. Some people may not be able to, relate, but if you can, like, it's like that's a real struggle.
Yeah. The thing is, I think everyone feels like we have to put on this mask of like, I'm strong. This is what strength looks like. Like, the strength equals you keep going. I would argue that in seasons where things are really dark, Strength actually looks like doing absolutely whatever you need to do to make sure that you are taken care of first.
Agreed.
So that literally could look like I drank a glass of water.
Yep.
I watched a timer to, know that I made it through the next 60 minutes. Like what you always tell me, like, you just got to take it, you just got to make it through the next hour. Then you got to do it again. Then
Yep.
you got to do it again. Like it can be that simple. But what I'll say is if you're somebody that struggles with like the masking, like this, what I look like right now, like this is what depression can look like. We see a lot of times people, after they maybe taken their lives, everyone's so surprised, everyone's so shocked. Like they seem so happy, they seem so whatever. A lot of the time, those people are masking too. And it's the hardest thing I've had to do in this season, but it's one of the most helpful. It is extremely vulnerable. And I would say only do this with people that you feel safe with. I have people that are very close with me. They're kind of more in my day-to-day, like texting or we'll talk or whatever, or I'll have certain friends that have helped me in the past that I would lean on, and I just say, hey, I'm not good. It's terrible admitting that you need help. It's very uncomfortable.
But I also feel like that's a sign of strength.
It's a sign of strength to say like, hey, I need you to know I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I need you to check on me. I'm not, this isn't from a harmful situation, but I really just need you to like check on me, see how I'm doing. This is what I'm going through. And it creates two things. The first is that you are not a weak person for asking for help. First, you get to receive love from the people who care about you, and admitting, there is vulnerability in sharing that you need help. And so you create an opportunity for you to receive love, but you also, everyone loves that feeling when you give a gift. You also give someone else the opportunity to give. And it's the people that care about you. They care about that you don't feel good or that you don't feel like yourself.
Yeah.
And so it kind of creates this like giving and receiving energy that feels really authentic when you don't know how to do the basic functions.